Alrighty, well, I'm getting ready to head into town. I have some things to do in town. I'm looking at possibly buying a generator. I spotted a used generator that's in the village of Metcalf, which is a bit of a drive from here, and I'm hemming and hawing about that, but I think I may buy a generator. I'm definitely going to buy a generator at some point. I won't buy a new one. I'll get a used one in good shape if I can. I don't really need a new one. As long as it'll run and produce electricity, that's what I need. You know, the generator I have now really isn't very good, and that was really kind of a waste of money. I would have been far better to have bought a used generator in the first place than to have bought this new generator that I bought that just has no balls. Really doesn't produce very much power, but loves its gas. So anyway, I'm not going to make that mistake again. You know, we learn from our mistakes and we do better, that's all. And I made a mistake buying that thing, and I've paid for that in terms of having basically a boat anchor for a generator. And so, you know, I figure my next generator will be one that'll produce more power, just a used one in good shape. That'll cost me probably about the same as that new one cost me, you know, but we'll be in better shape, that's all. We'll actually be able to produce electricity, which I'm going to need it to do, especially when I leave this camp. I'm going to need that. Anyway, as you know, or as most of you know if you've watched my videos, I fell on hard times. A bunch of losses came, and I lost my job, I lost my home. I didn't drive from 2018 until just this year. So there were several years there, like 5 or 6 years where I wasn't driving. Just looking at this here to see what's going on. Okay, nothing too contentious. I thought I was receiving a text or something, but no. All right. Anyway, here's the thing. When I was at the laundromat yesterday, I was able to get onto the Giant Tiger store Wi-Fi, because the Giant Tiger store is right upstairs from the laundromat. And I stumbled across a YouTube channel, and I'm not going to say the man's name, but he's a fellow who lives in this area. He's a guy who grew up in my hometown, and his father had got to be quite a successful businessman, and now he's a successful businessman. He's a great marketer. I think that's his big strength in business, this fellow, is his marketing abilities. Anyway, he has this channel where he talks about various things, and he was talking, well, one of the videos I just watched this morning, I've been watching them just because this is somebody I sort of know. I don't know him well. I've spoken to him a handful of times over the years. I've met his dad, I think, maybe once when I was making an inquiry about insurance years ago and stuff, because his dad was in the insurance business. His dad is retired now, though. His dad is quite elderly. Anyway, bottom line is, you know, a lot of what the guy says resonates with me, and I've been watching his videos the last couple days, well, since yesterday, anyway. And one of the things he talked about, and I've noticed this is a thing too, is basically the dumbing down of society. He talks about that. He talks about the poverty industry, which is a thing. There are people who are making a great deal of money keeping poor people poor, basically, or encouraging poor people to stay poor when they don't necessarily have to. You know, there's a homeless industry. There's people making big money off homelessness. It's you know, we have a system that really doesn't care about us and that isn't really geared to help us. They say they're helping us, but they're not. That's the bottom line. They don't have any interest in helping us. You know, it's similar to, you know, the whole idea of finding cures for diseases. Well, there's a whole pharmaceutical industry which is a huge, powerful lobby in government. They own politicians, these pharmaceutical companies do. And the politicians are heavily invested, too, in the pharmaceutical companies. Our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, during the scamdemic, he was heavily invested in Pfizer, which I think is a conflict of interest myself, because then he's making all these mandates requiring that everybody get these shots in order to be able to go outside or to travel or to work or whatever. Anyway, definitely a conflict of interest. It shouldn't be allowed. For all I know, maybe it isn't allowed. He tends to flout the law, so who knows? Maybe there is a law saying he can't do it, but he's doing it anyway, and he's getting away with it if there is. But the bottom line is, when it comes to curing disease and whatnot, you can't put all of the responsibility on the shoulders of your doctor or a pharmaceutical company. A lot of the doctors are actually owned by the pharmaceutical companies. I had a family doctor in my hometown for years that was bought and paid for by the pharmaceutical companies. I'll tell you, the smoke used to just come off his pen when he wrote prescriptions. It was kind of scary. Anyway, and he loved to get everybody on antipsychotic drugs and antidepressants and everything. And, there were people dying of cancer, and he had them on antipsychotics. And they died on antipsychotics because he said, oh no, you're not sick, you just think you are because you have mental illness. Again, your doctor, I'm not saying to discount your doctor completely, and I know some doctors are good and decent. I don't want to paint everybody with the same brush, but you can't really count on your doctor to save your life or to save your quality of life. You can't count on the pharmaceutical industry to do that. The pharmaceutical industry, what they sell is Band-Aids with side effects. That's what they sell. They don't sell cures. A cure would put them out of business. There's a lot of money in treating sick people. There's a lot of money in medicating sick people. The pharmaceutical industry wants you as a customer constantly. If they can make a pill that will cure what ails you, and you just take that pill and that's it, you're going to buy that pill one time. You're not going to buy it again because you're not going to need it again. But if they can keep you chronically sick, and if they can get you on drugs with side effects, and then they can get you on other drugs to combat the side effects from the first drugs, that's a pretty good business model for them. I don't blame them. It's a great scam, I don't blame them. But the bottom line is, we got to be responsible for ourselves, because in the end, when it comes to you, you're the one who has everything at stake. That's what it boils down to. You're the one who has everything to lose when it comes to your health or your well-being, your financial well-being, or anything else, And that's what this guy is saying, and I agree with him. I think he's right. Anyway, the bottom line is, if you're not your own advocate, there's nobody going to speak up for you for very long, because people have their own issues. People have their own stuff that they're dealing with. And so you got to be prepared to be your own advocate, and you got to be prepared to meet opposition when you do that, because we're living in a society of sheep. We're living in a society where people are conditioned to listen to experts and to believe what's said by authority figures and so on. And if you go against that grain, people are going to judge you. They're going to look at you like, okay, either you're nuts or you're bad, or you're both. Because you need to listen to this or that or the other thing. You need to do as you're told, Well, doing as you're told won't always work for you. What do you do then? Do you keep doing as you're told and you die a well-liked and highly respected person because you did as you were told? And they lay you in the ground, and then life goes on. And every so often they remember you. They say, yeah, he was a good guy. He did as he was told. He was obedient. He was a good guy. I liked him. It's too bad what happened to him, though. It's just too bad, you know. I mean, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the one that people are remembering that way. I would sooner be alive and have you think I'm an asshole because I won't do as I'm told than be dead and have you, saying, oh shit, he was such a good guy. It's really too bad, you know. So yeah, I mean that's the bottom line. We got to take responsibility for ourselves in this life, and that doesn't mean we don't get a little help and encouragement along the way. There's nothing wrong with that. That don't mean we don't sometimes turn to people who know more than we do. But if something smells funny, it probably is. If some supposed expert is telling you something that just sounds completely off the wall, there's a pretty good chance it is. We have that internal alarm within us that tells us when things just aren't right. And we ignore that to our own disadvantage, at our own peril. And I learned this early on, dealing with doctors and so on. I had to fight for my life when I was in my early 20s. I had a doctor the doctor that I talked about earlier, that was owned by the pharmaceutical companies. I had a doctor who basically told me, if you won't obey me, I'll let you die. But obeying him would have resulted in my death too. And so I had to fight with my doctor while I was really sick. Turns out I had the pneumonia. My lungs were being eaten up with pneumonia. And this guy was trying to put me on Prozac. Said there was nothing wrong with me. I was just depressed. Needed Prozac. In the meantime, I'm horking up my lungs, like literally coughing up my lungs. And this guy is telling me Prozac is what you need. And if you won't take it, then screw you. So, like I say, you don't need that. And I caught flack. I had family members and friends who turned on me at the time because they said, well, you won't do as you're told, so, we don't care. You'll just die, I guess, because you won't do as you're told. And like that, and I had to fight. I had to fight for my life, and I did, and I won. I'm still here, so obviously I won. It hasn't always been easy. I mean, I've spent the last 3 years rebuilding, in the process of rebuilding. I'm still doing it, working hard and rebuilding my life. And I'm better off now than I was in 2021 when the proverbial shit hit the fan. And I intend to keep improving. I intend to keep getting better. And yeah, anyway, but listening to that fella just made me think of that. He was talking about some of these bums that are out panhandling, and a lot of them aren't what they seem, and people are afraid to acknowledge that because that's mean. You can't be mean. Well, I mean, the thing is, if some guy is coming up to you and asking you for money and there's no value, he's not offering you anything. The only thing he's offering is that he's going to take your money. He's not willing to work for your money. He's not saying, hey, can I come over to your house and cut your lawn? And you can pay me for cutting your lawn. Or he's not saying, can I wash your car? And you can pay me for washing your car. Can I do something for you? Can I shine your shoes? Can I do something? People get mad at buskers. But at least the busker is doing something. He's entertaining you. And if you want to throw a little money into his guitar case, well, at least he's doing something for it, But you get these guys who aggressively approach you on the street, and it's common in Ottawa. I once had a guy on Rideau Street in Ottawa, and anybody who knows Ottawa, Ontario, will know Rideau Street. I was walking with a duffel bag. I'd come from the bus station, and I'm walking with this duffel bag with all my clothing and toiletries in it. And this guy, great big black man, he got in front of me and he started walking backwards. And he was about a foot and a half from me. And I remember he started roaring in my face. "Hey, you! I'm talking to you! I'm talking to you!" Like that over and over again. And it was frightening, you know. I was intimidated. But I didn't let him know I was intimidated, because if you show any fear or weakness, these people will eat you alive, and I know that. It would have escalated into something even worse had I done that. So what I did is I took my duffel bag and I put it in front of me. I brought it right around in front of my chest in case this fella had a knife or something and decided he was going to stick me. He'd have to go through the duffel bag to get to me. And I just kept walking. I stared straight ahead, just totally focused, and I just kept walking. Didn't say a word to him, just kept walking, and he kept walking backwards in front of me, roaring in my face. And that went on for about half a block, and then he eventually just went to the side and let me proceed. And you see, that's how you have to be in life. When life gets in front of you like that, you got to just focus on what it is what are you trying to do here? What's your goal? Now, my goal was pretty simple in that situation. My goal was to get from point A to point B. It was to get from where I was to where I was going. That's what it was, to physically be in a different place than where I'd just come from. This guy was going to impede my progress. I didn't let him do it. And eventually he just drifted off to the side and he went after somebody else. Now, maybe he found somebody weaker. Maybe he found somebody who didn't have the same resolve that I did. And maybe he ended up hurting them or robbing them. I don't know. He didn't hurt me or rob me because I wasn't having that. You know, I just wasn't having it, and he knew it. But that doesn't mean I wasn't scared, because I was. I just didn't show it, you know. Didn't let him know I was scared. But yeah, he frightened me a bit, that guy. But I just focused. I just set my eyes straight ahead and focused, and that was it. Anyway, I have to go. I'm getting a telephone call. We talk later.